Hey people, I got to do this because the symbols are disappearing quick and people in the future just aren't going to get this. But back when I was a kid, every morning I'd go out and pick the figs. You know, figs, you have to pick them when they're ripe because they won't ripen after they're already picked. And so my mama would send me out early in the morning to pick the figs before the birds eat them. And so she would tell me, put your shirt on and go pick the figs. And she told me this because she knew the fig leaves would make you itch. You know, although I wasn't allergic to poison ivy, poison sumac, or anything like that, the fig leaves made me itch. Every morning I go out and pick the figs. And so, you know, you start reading the Bible and only one person out of 100, you know, gets the story. And to wake everybody else up, you know, they put that story about getting clothed in fig leaves, you know, and that's when you're supposed to say, oh, hell no, that's amphigory. There ain't no way, you know, because everybody back in the day had fig trees. It's a piece of nonsensical writing or in verse. They'll say it's of unknown origin. Meaningless or nonsensical piece of writing, one intended as a parody. And so this comes from, you know, amph, and that means to contain. They say it means both. And fig, to contains the figgery. Contents figgery is intended as a parody. So I was looking at this word amphora, and they say it comes from the Greek, you know, amphorus. And they'll say it comes from the word amphi, and meaning on both sides, meaning it had a handle on both sides, and phorus, to carry. But I wouldn't believe in that. That's part of the Latin language change. You know, they'll use it in amphibian. They'll say amphibian comes from amphi, both, bios, life. And they totally had to rewrite a bunch of books in order to get all this to fit. They worked really hard. That's why it took 72 people to write the Septuaginta. But bios is not the Greek word for life. You know, Adam named his wife Zoe, Z-O-H, for she was the mother of all the living, the Zoonton. And they were rejected because they ate from the tree of life, the Zoos. And you look at these Greek words for life, you know, it's Zoe, has, he, you know, life, the Zoon, from Zeo, life. You know, the three words in Greek meaning life, you know, zoo, Z-O-H, Z-O-H-N, Z-O-H-S. There is no bios there. But as I investigate all the words beginning with amphi, you know, they'll say it means on both sides, an amphitheater, you know, on both sides of theater. But no, you know, most of your amphitheaters were totally encircled. It were contains, meant to contain the theater. You see how they change it here, the amplest to mean large, and they won't tell you where the tude come from. But the amplitude means contains, the amp, ample, plenty, of tude, altitude, of height, the plenty of height, or the contains of height. You know, the amphrages is contains the rages, amplifies the contents to lift. And they try to stick to their story, you know, with amphibia, meaning both the habitat, but it's to contains the habit of baya, both of by, two habitats, water and land. You know, amphib, to contains the habitat of by, two habitats. And so this base word, you know, just amphora, to contain for, and then it has some suffixes on it, and it looks like an amp, to contain for reuse, R-E-U-S, for reuse. And this A-E, this is the ancient god Ash, the Nordics, and it's amphorash. And that's where you would put the ash of your ancestors, to contains for ash. And they had this story here on Wiki here that the amphora were too cheap and plentiful to return to their origin point, and so when empty they were broken up at their destination. At a breakage site in Rome, Testico, close to the Tiber, it's a river, the fragments later wetted with calcium hydroxide remained to create a hill now named Monte Testico, 148 foot high. No, that was like a book burning. They had outlawed whatever contents were in there, and they broke all them. You don't put all this artwork on something to be broken up. This is amphoras, to be reused, to cut contents for to reuse. You know, a container for reuse. Amphora, to contain for reuse. Amphoras. And it's easy to tell on Wiki, you know, the longer a page is on something ancient, the more they're trying to talk you into it. If something's true, it only takes a couple lines to get the truth out. But when they're trying to push a lie, it takes a huge page. And you can see this guy, he carries around this pot and collects everybody's piss. And they still say, you know, this is urinating into an amphora. But there's only one handle. There's no handles on this one. And there's only one handle here. You know, they said that amphora means a handle on both sides. It doesn't. This is a pot here. And what it's saying is this is a pot to carry. This is the apothecary. He's the drug maker. He would collect all the vegetarian piss. That's where your word a to carry came from. Apothecary. You know, a apothecary, medical professional who formulates and dispenses materia medica. And this is the word you call pharmacology, which in the Bible is translated as witchcraft. So it sent me up barking up this tree. I did another short movie about 8 minutes yesterday. Looks like this, Language of a Move Part 2. And I was talking about this word, the homo logos in. This homo is the same logos in. You know, the same writings. And they changed the meaning. And I looked at it, you know, and it only came up 2 times. And so I went to read this other, where it was in Acts. And I ended up reading the whole chapter. But it's the same thing. It's talking about the homo, the same logos in, that they're trying to change the language. And that's why I ran into that last, the amphotera. And they say it means the both. But what it means is contains, the ampho, it contains terra, the earth, contents of the earth. It was in the language. It's in the logos, the contents of the earth. And you just go back and look at the basic language, and the contents of the earth tell you what the language means. You know, all the letters, you know, they have a earth meaning, you know, and they mean the bull, the house, the foot, the door, the life, the cotter pin, the plow. And so they can't change the meaning. You know, the logos were the same worldwide. The logos were the same. You know, they were the homo, the same logos in. And they couldn't change the language. And so that's what this writing is in Acts. And when they say forbid this, it's forbidden. Having feared, the fob, they say is fear, because it's forbid this. To see the chiliarchos. And so chiliarchos is a commander, they say. And they'll say it's an ancient word used everywhere, and everybody knew that a chiliarchos was a commander, and it means nothing like. It means the command of 1024. The command of 1024. And you look at that number and it jumps out if you're into numbers. But 1024, the square root is 32. 32 square is 1024. And chili is an ancient word for 32 degrees. When it's chilly, and that tells me that archos is a word for square. Chili Square, 1024. So if you're not getting this, go out to your fig tree and pick off one of them leaves and stick it down in your underwear, and then go try to read the first 3 chapters of the Bible with that fig leaf in your drawers, and you'll figure it out. Alright, I'm going to cut this off here. Good day. Good day.